Okay, it's been a month after the goal video. I already scrapped some videos. Now I just need some video ideas I can work with. I could do another consolation video. That one didn't do so well. Maybe the fairy tale story I have? No, I already made a lot of changes, and I've yet to redesign the characters. Maybe turning flowers into characters? No, I'm not feeling it. What to do? Hey everyone, I'm Honey Doggo, and this video is about making Kajinkas from planets. Thanks, childhood fixation. Without you, I wouldn't have a video. Anyway, a Kajinka in simple terms is taking a non-human thing and humanizing it. So for this, I'm giving my take on the rocky planets, aka the inner planets of the solar system, as humans. A little disclaimer before we get into the rest of the video, a lot of the facts I mentioned in this video can be found on NASA's website. So if I get anything wrong, I'm sorry. Blame NASA, I guess. Now, let's get into this video. Starting with the planet whose design really solidified my fixation with this idea and was my first one, we have Mercury. My initial gut feeling was to come up with a design that gave a sporty vibe. Mercury is the fastest planet in our solar system, taking around 88 days to complete its orbit around the sun. So I knew I had to give him a look that gave an active vibe. The cropped shirt hoodie thing was something I knew I wanted from the jump. When sketching down my ideas, I originally gave him shorts, but that didn't work for me, so I went with sweatpants. I wanted to give him an accessory, but when I was thinking about what to give him, I had an idea. Now, this idea came from a silly idea for his personality, that being he's a bit of a gossip. I was listening to Meet the Plastics from the Mean Girls musical, the stage play, the only musical adaptation of Mean Girls, and when I got to Gretchen's part of the song, it was like a match made in heaven. I was constantly envisioning him with sunglasses in this little scenario in my mind, so bam, he got sunglasses. It works out since Mercury is the closest planet to the sun anyways. I did give the sunglasses wings on the side as a little mythological reference, alongside with the symbol for Mercury on the front of his little hoodie thing. For the colors, I wanted to mainly stick to this brownish gray color for the clothes, with a pop of blue for the shades in the tank top, mainly because I was struggling with balancing the colors. For the hair, I stuck with this brownish color, and ta-da! Here we have Mercury as a human. The next planet I drew was Venus, and I struggled with this one. It's not the only planet to give me trouble, but still. Venus feels like a planet that should have given me a lot of ideas, but it really didn't. It's the hottest planet in our solar system, and it's named after the Roman goddess of love and beauty. However, that's all that jumped out to me. I had bare-bone ideas for her personality. I knew I wanted something that leaned on the more feminine side compared to the others. The simplicity of the idea didn't help me at all. I ultimately was just drawing what came to mind and hoped something would work. I was like a rat in a Skinner box experiment. I did notice some similarities in the ideas I've had, and decided to combine them, at least the ones that popped up the most. I finally found something that worked, which was fantastic, and could move on to the rest of the design. The hair and eyes were easy to come up with. I really like the idea of Venus having a hairstyle where part of her hair is up and the rest is down, and I decided to give her buns. I like the idea of her buns looking similar to hearts, and for her eyes, I made it a bit bigger and rounder to help make her a little different from Mercury. For the colors, I decided to lean more into the picture of Venus with its thick atmosphere. I was originally going to keep the hair one color, but decided to add the white to help break up the colors a bit more. I also forgot to add the symbol until much later in the picture, so I made it into a necklace and I made it pink to add a pop of color. For the button on her shorts and shoes, I went with a color similar to the picture of Venus I'm showing on screen right now, mainly to also add a pop of color. Now, here is Venus. Despite the trouble coming up with her design, I like what I have, and I think it fits her personality. That personality being a nice and responsible character who tries to build community among the rocky planets. I also think it's cute enough to make her more competitive and intense side of her personality stand out much more. Earth was another planet I had an easy time coming up with a design for. I would argue it was the easiest by far. What you see here is the idea I had in my brain, and it's the design that wouldn't leave me alone. I wanted to give Earth a jacket and some pants. For her hair, I really like the idea of the bottom part of her hair resting in the front of the body. I don't know, you'll see it in the picture anyways, you'll see what I mean. The only thing that really changed was the color placement of the pants, which was originally mismatched. For the colors, I obviously was going to have blue and green be a big part of the design. I really wanted a bit of white scattered around, polar ice caps and all. And I have no idea why, but I really wanted the jacket to be this beige adjacent color. In the time-lapse, I tried to put the symbol in the front of the jacket, but decided to have the symbol in the back instead. The hair was obviously going to show some of the continents, and the back would have the rest. I'm happy with her design, and I can't say much about her personality for reasons I'll get to later in this video. However, I can say she ended up being more childish than I originally intended. Yeah, she could be a bit arrogant at times, and she is proud of her accomplishments, rightfully so. She can also be incredibly determined, stubborn, and passionate, and has a much more calmer and caring side that comes out every now and then. As of now, I can't say too much, but I really like her character. Remember when I said that Venus wasn't the only planet to give me trouble? Yeah? Well, officer, it's this one right here. Mars was a planet I thought I was happy with its design when I was sketching it out, and oh boy, I was wrong. When I compared the ideas I had for Mars, I realized it didn't fit in with the other rocky planets. I ended up coming up with different ideas and felt lost. Unlike Venus, where I had a vague idea for her, Mars actually had a more solidified personality when I was drawing him. I knew he was going to be the rocky planet's resident smart guy, but I didn't know how to show that in a way that felt nice. I eventually decided to lean into the scientist look for him, which I liked enough to go through with, even though it was more like I had most of the outfit done, and I didn't like the original jacket, so I slapped on a lab coat instead. The clothes are just a button-up shirt, some pants, and boots. Pretty simple, run-of-the-mill. I kind of wanted to give a blue-collar worker kind of vibe. I don't know. I tried to find a way to best show that the hair was partially tied up. I don't know if I really was successful in that though. The color, on the other hand, is not my best work, but it's passable to me, I guess. I mainly stuck with a reddish orange for both the hair and shirt. I used a dark brown for the pants and boots with a little bit of a lighter orange, I guess. The lab coat is white, obviously, with the little symbol being on the side of his arm, and red. I gave him facial hair and some glasses to tie the look together, and yeah, here is Mars. I have a love-hate relationship with this design. I don't know how to fix what's bothering me, but I'll probably figure it out later. As I said, he's the resident smart guy, and he's always up to hang out with the others and answer any questions they may have. The last picture in this video is a height chart of sorts. It's mainly for me to reference how tall the characters are if I decide to go through with my idea of making short comics with them. Yeah, while I was making these characters and figuring out their personalities, I considered making some short comics to help build up my comic making skills. So there are some things I had to consider because of that. One of those things is what the rocky planet's relationship with other planets were like. However, that's a video for another day. All I will say is that there is an in-character reason for Mars's lab coat now, and it's tied to the Outer Giants. While I still have to do them, I do have a few comic ideas with these characters, so hopefully I can carve out enough time to make them. I'd like to apologize for this part being short. I had to cut out so much of this part because I could genuinely make a whole nother video with what I was saying. It was mainly about character dynamics and writing, so yeah. Either way, I had a lot of fun with this video, and I'm excited to see what else I do with these characters. If you liked the video, feel free to give it a like, feel free to comment on what designs you like, any suggestions or other celestial bodies you want me to do, or any tips on what I can improve on in this video. I will be drawing the outer planets, and I've already started coming up with ideas and sketching them out. For the rocky planets, I already have some video ideas for stuff I couldn't include here and some stuff outside of this, so hopefully I'll have another video out soon, and I wish you a good day or night.